Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. Today we're going to remove the actual airbag assembly from the Avalanche so we can repair these ugly things. Now there's nothing wrong with them, but the rubber comes off over time. Even if you have the silver ones seem to kind of wear down and start looking dingy and ugly. So it's piano black underneath it, but we need to get the rest of this crap off. Now I'll link the new ones down below, but they're like 70 or 80 bucks if I remember right. So you can decide if you want to order a new pair. That's Dorman. I think Dorman's the brand. They're going to have this on there, but again, it's eventually going to come off, so that's up to you. But we're going to remove the horn cap so we can access these switches. If you're going to replace them or think you want to replace them, order them before you take this apart, so that way you can just do the wham bam thank you ma'am that same day. But before we get started, make sure you smash the subscribe button, helps the small channel out. Get the thumbs up at the end of the video and notification bell so you know I'm posting new content. Now this procedure is going to be the same for 2007 and 2013 GMC Sierra, Silverado, Yukon, Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon XL, and of course the Avalanche. So it's a little bit tedious. Go ahead and disconnect the battery so that way there's no power to the airbag itself. And then after that, you know, we'll show you where to get in. So there's these two little pinholes on both sides. It's about the size of a coat hanger. So if you have a metal coat hanger or a very, very small punch, you can sit that in there. And you're going to have to feel around, and inside there is the actual release catch to pull the horn button off. If you didn't know, the battery takes one 10 millimeter. It takes off the negative and the positive. You only really need to remove the positive. That's 10 millimeter. I do have a separate video on how to change out the battery. You want to check that out on the channel, go search that up. Now, just to make sure we drain all the residual power, just to come over here and turn on the headlights. About 10-15 seconds. You can turn the key on and it'll basically draw out any residual power that has in it. Remember, if you have two batteries, you're going to need to disconnect both. Once we get done with that, now we'll start working on getting the horn cap off. Now basically this small Phillips head works for this. If you have something like this will work. Even a straight coat hanger, you can cut it off. Some wire cutters, use that. You basically want to go straight in the hole. So if you can get basically 90 degrees on that and look straight in there, you'll be able to feel it. And it'll go almost all the way in. You'll feel like a springy detent. That's what you're looking for to press. Do one side at a time. Once you get it released, then you can pop up the one side or the other and then work to the other side. Now it's dealer's choice. You want to start on the driver's side with that. You'll feel it. You'll feel it because everything's going to feel hard and metal in there, and then you'll feel something that you're touching, and it's going to go in probably about 3 inches. Once you get that, then you'll see that the horn cap is loose. We can go ahead, if you have monster size hands, you can do it all in one shebang. Pull it straight out, and then from there we have two wires. You can't screw them up. One's pink, one's white on the bottom side. So you're going to pry up this little yellow piece and then it'll unlock it. Now from here, because we're only removing these, if you don't want to have to even worry about unplugging them, just let it sit there. It's not going to move. And then you're going to need a torx head here to take out the actual horn mechanism. This is the actual plate that turns on the horn. And I will tell you what size that is. Alright, it's a Torx T30. You don't need the security ones. That's that little dimple is there in the end. You're just going to remove those 4 screws and that plate will lift up. Alright, once you get that loose, if you don't want to disconnect that, just set it up out of the way. There's one wire connecting to the plate, and when you tighten those back down, all you got to do is just tighten them down until they stop. And then you can see here that we're going to have to remove those little Torx head ones. Now, if you don't mind making a mess inside your car, you could go ahead and clean them up while they're sitting here, but if you're going to swap them, then you're going to need to remove these little copper brackets. That one you're going to need a Torx 14. Again, I'll link this set, super cheap on the Zahn, and they are security tipped. You don't need those to do any of that on this type of repair. Now inside of here, I would do one side at a time. That wiring harness is going to have to come disconnected. They pull straight out of those tabs right there. I would do one side at a time so you don't have to mess with remembering what's what, but you want to unhook that little wire harness from this wire loop right here. Once you get this done, guys, I take the switch panel off of here and set it aside. So that's going to be the same type Torx bit that you use to take off those copper brackets. And there's that. So now you can either replace it or repair it. If you do one side at a time, it should be no big deal. Now I'm just going to sit here and peel this like a fruit roll up. And then they do sell like kits if you want to wrap them, clean them. I usually just peel this off and then I polish this out with some plastics and make it basically piano black. It will scratch over time, but you can just keep polishing it. It does make the steering wheel look nice, but you can do you however you want to do it. So once I get done with these, I'll come back and show you how to reassemble it. I have seen some people talking about repairing that Chevy emblem. It gets dented. I wouldn't mess with that. You gotta take the whole airbag apart. I would highly discourage you from doing that. Airbag's your safety system, but we're not going to even touch on that here in this video, so we're just going to get cleaning, and I'll come back, show you how they look, and we'll put it all back together. Now you might be asking, how did I get all that crap off before I took this? If you guys don't have plastic razor blades in your arsenal in the garage, you got to get them. They're excellent. They're cheap. I will link them down below. And I use them just to remove soap scum and everything like that. Then I use my plastics. I have a buffing kit in there from when I was a detailer. And here's what it came out looking like. I'm pretty pleased with it. Again, there's nothing wrong with the plastic. If you're going to use a decal to cover it, more than likely, unless you get it just right, you can try and use a heat gun, but there's a lot of precious stuff underneath the steering wheel. The sticker's going to come up, but no matter what, if you're going to get decal it, you're going to need to remove all of the rubber stuff that's on that material. And like I said, you can see this one, it just kind of looks gross and whatever, it just doesn't look good. So I think this is going to look real nice, so we're going to go ahead and reinstall this one side and then come back to the other. So there's one side installed versus the old side. So again, like I said, it's going to look nice. And over time, you can just keep polishing those up as you, get them dirty and stuff. But we'll go ahead and pull off this other side now. Alright guys, so I got those reinstalled. Remember to put those little brackets in. Use the Torx head. Put the ones in the upper ones here. And now we're ready to reinstall the horn bracket itself. Then once you get that done, you're just going to realign the horn cap and put it back in. And voila! That is how to clean those up. If you want to swap them, same procedure. Just put the new pieces in. These pieces, I think they look good. A little bit of elbow grease and kind of classes up the steering wheel a little bit. And you don't have to take them off ever again. You can just infinitely polish them right there. They do get a little scratched up, but 2 years after we did this to the 08 Duramax, they still looked really good. So, yeah. So hopefully that helped, guys. That's how you would remove basically everything all the way down except for the steering wheel. And again, zero cost, about a half hour's worth of time. Catch you on the next one.